just like how you have a brand, you become intentional. What are the elements that you need to create the community? What are the ways that you want your voice to be with the people that you're speaking to? You need the same thing with your clothing. And as you start trying things on, you start to develop what that means.
Everybody to the Be You Brand podcast. I am so excited about the conversation that we are going to have with Tannya from The Closet Edit. Before I introduce you, Tannya, go ahead, start introducing yourself, and then we'll tell people how we met and all the amazing things about you.
You know what? I have started this business 14 years ago. I've been in it so long. It feels like an integral part of my life, but it's all about helping people level up in their life and accomplish their goals through style, because how you feel about yourself really helps you develop and step into the woman or the person that you want to be in the future. And becoming more aware of where you're at and where you want to go is a very important part. And so I help people shop for the pieces that really fit their life, their body, and their goals.
Oh my God. Okay, you guys. So we are in for literally a lesson in shopping. I cannot love that more. But you know how much I love, obviously, I teach personal branding. I think one of the things that I get from people all the time is, I don't know what to wear. I help them in their photo shoots and stuff like that. But what is that next level? So I can't wait to chat about that. But I want to give them the official bio, because like literally you have worked with all the amazing people. You have done so many things. And when I look at your stuff, your Instagram, and even your bio, you have been around for way longer that people have been hearing personal branding, right? Yep. On social media. And I think that that is so important, because people think that personal branding has been around for like how long Instagram has been around. And that is so not true. So I'm going to read your bio and then we're going to go from there. Tannya Bernadette. In 2009, master stylist Tannya Bernadette launched a business dedicated to empowering busy women to shop with ease and intention. The power in her work as a personal stylist comes from understanding her client goals to help them build a full wardrobe of outfits that match their body, life, and how they want to show up. Aside from hosting the Closet Edit podcast, Tannya has been featured on and partnered with Seattle's top dating photographer, Northwest Mom Magazine, Simply Matchmaking, Seattle Magazine, Q13, King 5 News, K&L Gates, Vince, Alice and Olivia, and more. If you're ready to boost your confidence and life, she is your girl. I am so excited.
I love it. Yes. And the reason why I have done all of that is just I have a way of working with clients where we really become intentional. And I think that's a very important part to start with. And you mentioned that you work with people where they're working on their brand and they don't know where to start. And that's the first step, is becoming aware with where you're at and being more intentional with your shopping, because most people get stuck in certain habits. They get stuck in buying things that worked for them in the past. They get stuck in buying things that they thought looked good at one point, but they don't know how to update. Or they get stuck, and this is a newer thing, people get stuck buying a lot from the ads on Instagram and Facebook because we're bombarded with information. And so they don't know what direction to take. And so they're clicking on people that they're following, buying things, and they're like, this doesn't look good on me.
Doesn't look like that. Like, this doesn't look like it looked on Instagram, right? Like, that is the thing. Number one, I want to know like the edited version of how you actually started the styling, because I think that I remember thinking when I first got into business and I heard about stylists, I thought that this was something completely unattainable. Like this was like something for celebrities, that it was like so expensive. And I'm with honestly, I don't think that at this very moment. So I kind of want to like hear from you how you got started and what made you actually start working with business owners.
My journey started when I was only 22 years old. I was a recent grad from college, and I did go to school for fashion marketing, and I had it in myself to become a stylist. I knew that I live in Seattle, Washington. I knew that people here needed help with developing what their style was. Here in Seattle, it's very easy to get caught in wearing very neutral colors, a lot of black, which is not bad. Some clients do that.
Is it because of the weather?
It's because of the weather. And there's also like this social thing that happens where people feel like they can't dress up. But going through school and being here, I noticed that people did need help. They just didn't know where to shop, what to do, what direction to take. And I remember when I used to tell people, I'm going to be a stylist. Everyone thought I was crazy. They're like, no one needs a stylist. That's like a celebrity thing. I'm like, no, I'm going to work with everyday people that need help. And one day I went, and this is how important community is. I knew I wanted to do this, and I knew I had to be with high-level, successful people. So I walked in this neighborhood called Ballard, and I found this beautiful hair salon, and I wanted to hire the owner. I wanted to talk to her. I wanted to connect with her. I saw a vision there where I could create something. I wanted something like that. So I went in, she was cutting my hair, and I told her, you know what, I made this up. I'm looking for an office space because I'm going to be a stylist. And she turned the chair around and she told me, you know what, I'm renting upstairs. Let me show you after we're done. She showed me, and the office was beautiful. It had the French doors that opened. It had a view of the city below. I did not even think about 22 years old. I still had college debt. I was married at the time. Signed the contract to go home to tell my husband at the time. And he looked at me. He's like, you don't even have a client. What are you thinking? How are you going to make the money to pay your monthly rent? And I freaked out. I didn't even think about it, because what happened when I went in that space is I saw the vision. You know, in the movies where you scan the room and it appears with everything there? Yeah. I had a vision I didn't even think about. I wasn't even scared. But when my husband at the time told me about not being able to pay rent, it got to me. And I called the person and I said, you know what? I don't know about what I was thinking at the time. I signed the contract. We need to end it. And I will never forget. She told me, you need to get your big girl panties on. You signed the contract. Can't go back. You had a vision. You're going to make it happen. And I made it happen. And I'm still doing it 14 years later. But I paid the rent. I did the thing, and I'm still.
Oh my God, there is so much to unpack there that we may not go to all of it right now, but yeah, so much to unpack there. Number one, the power of your vision. But then I want to say this. I remember, so you know my story. I used to be a bartender. I don't know if you knew that. I remember I always dressed different, and I don't know if it was my upbringing or like what was it?
Yeah.
I always dressed a little different, like a little funkier. Also, I travel a ton, right? So I don't know if I brought a lot of that with me. And I remember people telling me, like in the bartending world, like, who do you think you are? Or, oh, that's a little crazy. And then I found friends that actually love fashion also. And I was like, it's not about how much it is. It's not about, it's self-expression. But I think that so many women, this goes back just like business, right? So many women, we're so afraid of what some people is going to think, or like what other person is, who she thinks she is. So I would love to go in that direction. We talked a little bit off camera, but let's talk a little bit about branding, personal branding, showing up. And number one, why is important to actually up-level the look? Because you like, literally, can I name some of the people that you work with?
Oh, yeah, of course.
It's like you were talking about Vina, right? And if you guys don't know Vina, I will actually like probably tag her here, but like she's an investor. She was a speaker at the event that we met. I feel like for so many of us, it's like, well, I'll just wear black because I don't know what to wear. And that was her case. So can you talk a little bit about like how that affects your success, like how people all of that?
You know what? Dressing in a way that feels good helps you show up in a new way. And when you become intentional with how you're dressing, it helps you in your business, because just like how you have a brand, you become intentional. What are the elements that you need to create the community? What are the ways that you want your voice to be with the people that you're speaking to? You need the same thing with your clothing. And as you start trying things on, you start to develop what that means. So for example, when I work with clients, the very first step that we do is we create intention. So you have to ask yourself, how do you want to look and feel? 2 to 3 words or phrases. How do you want to look and feel? So I'm just going to share with you mine because then I could easily speak to it, but it is powerful, it is feminine, and it is bold. And similar to your story, I was born here. I'm Peruvian. I always grew up knowing I was different. I always dressed different because it was influenced by my mom, the colors, the sexiness, the feminine. And I grew up in Seattle where everything is dark and black. So I always stood out. And I think that people get so caught, whether you live in a certain area or you're working in a certain industry, or when you're developing your brand and going into these rooms with women, you start to feel insecure sometimes, like you don't
right?
fit in.
Because
Small.
oh,
So
I
finding
that 100%.
exactly. So being intentional of, okay, this is how I want to show up for me, powerful, feminine, bold. When I get dressed, when I'm buying something at a store, if it doesn't fit any of those things, I do not buy it.
It's funny that you say that because we do an exercise inside of my academy, which is, okay, how do you want to show up online? Like the adjectives, it's honestly the same thing because I feel like people are not looking from the outside into themselves, not to somebody else. Like I always tell people, okay, put yourself outside of you. What do you want to see?
Yeah.
What do you want to feel? What is that you want to transmit? And I actually do have my 3 words for clothing.
What is it?
Yes, it's fun, unapologetic, and absolutely myself.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing with that is I have gone through times, and I don't know, have you seen any of the photos or videos from my event? I don't know.
From the one, yes, I did.
Okay, and I remember when I bought that pink dress, like guys, go on Instagram, you can see it, look, whatever. I bought the pink dress, and when I tried it, I felt so in my power. And then I was like, is it too much? And then I caught myself and I was like, no, because literally, guys, my event was be you brand, right? Like I was like, and like I encourage people to do that. And I told people, dress as your absolutely self, like unapologetic, wear whatever you want to the event. I don't care how outstanding, how shiny, how whatever. It was so liberating for people.
It is. And the fact that you got to wear sneakers. It's so interesting as women, especially, it's like we need permission for some reason from somebody to dress a certain way to make big decisions when we don't. We could own it and say, you know what? I like to look powerful, but I want to be comfortable. So I'm going to wear some cute sneakers that also pop and go with my outfit. So you have to give yourself permission.
Absolute statement. And there was even like a piece of my keynote around it that was like, this is who I always knew I was meant to be. And today I'm stepping on my power. And if I do it, you can do it too. And I think that part of our personal style actually talks to that too. When women wear their power and they feel confident, they're allowing other women to do the same.
Yes. And I also want to note, because there are women that are listening that are more casual, and I do work with a lot of women that their big word in their style statement is, I want to be comfortable, and take the casual to the next level because that's where they're at in their life and that feels like them. And they don't want somebody to see them on video and then see them in real life and not feel like they're the same person. So I think it's very important too, as you're listening to this, if you do dress more casually, that's okay. But what can you do to buy clothing that maybe is more modern, maybe fits your body better, maybe has a different color? Just leveling it up, even in that sense, is something that's really important. And you can do that. You could wear the graphic tees, do just a chain, some cool sneakers, wear a baseball cap. You know, it is really creating you and feeling comfortable with what that is in your brand.
I love that because I'm actually very casual. Like I do wear like heels, but I don't know, I'm just casual. Like I'm not a super dressed up person. I love clothes though. Your brand is called The Closet Edit. So can we talk a little bit also about like not having a million things and having things that you absolutely love when it comes to
I'm
like
so glad.
Online, showing up at showing all the things.
So the reason why my business is called The Closet Edit is you have to identify also, before moving forward, you have to be aware of where you are at. Everybody says like, oh, I don't have good style. I don't have style. Well, identify what is your style right now. What you are wearing is your style, regardless if it's good or bad or whatever label you put on it. So you can learn a lot from your closet. You can figure out what you need to look for, what you need to avoid because you're not wearing, and what is holding you back in your life. Every time you put that sweatshirt on from 5 years ago and you put it on, you feel like you're stepping into you 5 years ago, you're not going to be able to move forward. Your closet actually holds you back.
Right.
So,
Story.
yeah.
So I came back from this event and there was a girl on stage and she's not a stylist. She's just like a keynote that was speaking there. And one of the things she talked about her story was like how she went through this scarcity mindset and she looked at her closet and she realized she was like holding on to all this clothing from like 5 years ago or 10 years ago that she would never freaking wear again. And she's like, she identified how she was like holding on to it because, you know, you think, yeah, you have a lot of things, but then you may have this limiting belief that you can never replace those. And I was like, oh my God, I came home the same night. But like, I'm telling you, Tannya, I came back and the same night I feel 2 bags of clothes. I was like, why do I have all these clothes that were trendy 10 years ago? I don't wear them. My body is not that body anymore. Like I wouldn't, like I can't wear it on the everyday. Everything I wear is either white, like pink, orange, or a sub-color of that. I wear black also, but I only wear that. Like literally, it's my brand. That's what I wear. And then I was like, I'm never going to wear all this stuff. And I thought, I felt like,
it's liberating. It's liberating. And the goal when I work with people, even women that I've worked with for years, for example, yesterday I was working with a client who's a wonderful client. We work consistently together. Even then, we keep your closet condensed to the pieces that you pull out and you know you feel good about. So the whole goal, regardless of how much clothing you have, is do you pull that item and every time you put it on, you're kind of fidgeting with it, can't figure it out, you don't know what to do with it? That needs to go. You don't try to make things work in your life that don't work for you. I think that's very important to take away. And if you are more on a budget, I do recommend still being very intentional. The way I have clients that my services are pretty expensive when you do one-on-one. We do have the group coaching, but the one-on-one is pretty expensive. I have clients that save up their money because they know when we shop, we are intentional with what they buy. They actually wear their pieces consistently. And in a 2-hour to 3-hour shopping session, usually clients on the budget will get 5 to 10 pieces only, but they know that everything will mix and match well together so that they can make multiple outfits out of those items. And we have layers, so you could take it off and it's one thing, you can put something over, it's another thing. So it's just being very intentional with what you buy and how you spend your money, regardless of how much money you make. Even my clients that make a ton of money are still, when we work together, it is about being intentional because you don't want a giant walk-in closet with shit. I don't know if I could throw on that.
And I one of the things, I had this conversation with a lot of clients. Sometimes you don't want also to go with pieces that are like extremely expensive and one of a kind because you're not going to use that for 3 years. Like you could, like, for example, for me, I can't show up on stage speaking with the same outfit every single time. I just can't. Right?
Yeah.
Like, so sometimes it's about being really, really intentional that piece fits who you are, like where you're going to be able to use it. And okay, but because this is the thing, I understand the value that a stylist brings to the table. Can we talk a little bit about that psychological thing that happens when your clients, your prospect clients, they see you in your power? Because I think that women don't really think about this. And I talk a lot about it, but I'm not a stylist. Like, so I love clothing, but I'm not a stylist. So I want them to hear from the expert.
So when you step into your power, your energy becomes contagious. You start attracting people that are similar to you and people that are different from you that want to learn from you because you have this way of being. When you don't feel comfortable in what you're wearing, you could tell the insecurity sometimes. You could tell that you're on stage maybe fidgeting, maybe your skirt's too short and you keep pulling it down. There are certain signals that show when you're feeling uncomfortable in what you're wearing. And when you do step into something that feels good, I'm going to give an example of a client.
Yes.
This is a man client, but it still could go with women. But he wrote to me, he trusted the process. He's like, I know what we're going to do together is going to change my life. But he's like, I'm not sure how yet, but I know it will help with my confidence. And he's like, I want to write back to you in a month after wearing my outfits and let you know how I feel. He writes back to me in a month and he says, you know what? I wanted to be very intentional because I put outfits together for them with what they buy. He's like, I wore one new outfit every day of how you combine my pieces. And he's introverted. And he's like, I was in line at Starbucks and people tried to talk to me. He's like, no one ever noticed me. No one tried to talk to me. And he's like, because I had things to dress up and wear, he's like, I intentionally wanted to actually go out. And I made plans to go out when normally I would stay at home. So it creates this power in you of not only having confidence, but just feeling better about yourself, where you want to be seen, where you want to connect with other people. So it's very impactful.
For me, something that I love about what you just said is I know when I go to a networking event or, for example, an event like the one we met, people notice me. And I don't do it on purpose. It's how I dress no matter what. But I feel that has always been like a conversation starter without me having to tell people, this is what I do. This is right. Like, or people will comment all the time. Okay, once you start working with somebody, those people start wearing their brand colors.
Yeah.
Because I do that. I wear my brand colors all the time. Oh my God, I love that story. Like, because you're going to feel more comfortable to go network, to go talk to people.
Yes.
Conversation starters, right?
Yeah. And I like how you mentioned about you weren't trying to be seen, but again, your energy is connected with the clothing that you're wearing. So if you're wearing things that make you feel insecure, like, again, to that point of you 5 years ago, but now you're more of like this empowered woman that's more bold, wants to be out there. When you're wearing those pieces that don't feel like you now, you can't step into this new version of where you're at. And I think that people forget also that you can change at any time. If you're listening to this podcast right now and you are like, it clicked in you, like, you know what, there's something else I want to step into. You can step into that woman tomorrow. You don't have to wait till next week or to lose weight or make more money. You can step into the person you want to be in a few seconds by going online and shopping, by going into a store and picking up a few new things that just light you up.
Yeah. I want to talk about fit because this is one that I see all the people, like all the time. I see women either on stage or at a networking event, like covering their belly, their clothes is too tight.
Yes.
Sometimes this happens to me when somebody comes to a photo shoot. Usually I help them and they send photos. But I had one time somebody showed up to a photo shoot and they're like, oh my God, I hadn't worn this in 10 years. And I was like, well, you're not wearing it today.
Oh my gosh.
But I want to talk about fit because and body types. Can we go there for a minute?
Yes. So I'm actually writing a book right now, and this is a very important part of the book.
You're writing a book?
I am. It's going to be out in 2025. So back to this. You're going to be very surprised, but body type has a little less to do than what people actually think. Ooh. So yes. So this is going to blow your mind, everybody listening. The reason why is that body type has to do with what you're insecure about. So if you are insecure about your belly, then you want to cover it more. If you feel really good about your boobs, you want to show it off. If you don't, you need to cover it up. This is why style is so personalized, because everybody is different. I work with clients that are tall, that are very insecure about being tall, and they don't like to wear crop pants. They don't like to wear any short skirts. And then I have clients that are tall that love their legs. They want a short skirt. They want the tall boots, and they don't care if they do a crop pant. So it's really identifying what you feel really good about your body and you don't care about showing off, and the parts that you feel a little bit more insecure about. So you want to make sure that you find the pieces that work well for you. And I think that's very important to share. Like, there's a client I have that she's plus size. I have a lot of plus size clients. Surprisingly, some of my plus size clients have so much more confidence in their body than some of my clients that are really tiny. So I think that
the best, like tiny. I'm tiny. I mean, you and I met.
Yeah.
For the longest time, I would wear like things that cover my belly and like big kind of like whatever. And I was like, oh my God, that stuff is making me bigger. I'm like, I don't even know. Like, yeah, no.
And so in your journey, when you start with your style, if you are being intentional right now, it's just being present with where you're at. Maybe you don't feel good about all parts of your body yet, but show off those parts that you do feel good about. If you have a small waist, show off that small waist. Tuck in your shirts, wear a little skirt that comes in and flares out.
That is so important because what I see a lot of women doing is wearing bigger clothes to kind of like hide instead of buying the pieces. And this is something that I love clothes and fashion. And I know that not everybody kind of loves that stuff. But I feel like people buy stuff to hide that instead of to highlight, kind of like, what would be like to make it better, if you want to call it. Like for me, when I look for a blazer, I'm looking for something that is really tucked in and it's tailored or stuff like that. Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah. So with fashion right now too, there's kind of a blur between what is dressy and what is casual. So for example, my style is very feminine, but today I'm a little more casual because I was running errands with the kids. And so I am wearing something a bit more boxy. So there are ways of creating those elements of like boxy, drapey, but still doing something feminine. So for example, if you are watching, you can see. If you're listening, you'll just hear it, but I am wearing slightly more of a boxy overcoat that's super cute and stylish. But my undershirt is fitted, so I still have that feminine element, and I have a square neckline, so it feels very feminine in my jewelry. And I have high-heeled boots on. So there are ways to add modern styles that are slightly oversized to a more feminine look where you don't lose yourself in it, if that makes sense.
And I think, okay, and just for the people that are listening, like literally her clothing also matches her background, which is something similar to you're always going to that kind of matches my brand. But the reason for that, and I actually been kind of fighting the thing because I do have a few really beautiful high-end dresses that are not my brand. And I'm like, when am I ever going to wear these? Maybe for a wedding or something. But I'm like, the truth is that you are the bearer of your brand. So not only the colors, the style, you want people to recognize it right away when they see it on social media or in person. Like you want to be sure that people are recognizing that.
Exactly. They see you and they're like, I know who that is. I know what she's all about. And your brand has a lot to do with what you're wearing too. Like for me, I do work with business owners, but I work with moms. And so they understand Tanya's running around, but she's still stylish. She's in her boots. She's in her jewelry. I never leave the house without jewelry. That's just part of my state. Anything you see with me online, I have a ton of jewelry on. There's just no way around it.
It's like me, right? Like for me, like all my outfits, I love them to make a statement of who I am. They need to feel fun for me and they need to be comfy. I can't be like, I was like draping my dress the other day as I opened the event. And I was like, oh my God. And it was nothing, like my back was completely open, dress and all of that. And then I'm like, but I was draping and it was killing me, right? So I know that for me, it needs to feel like I can move. I move a lot. Yes. So I love that. So I have one more question for you, which is this. So a lot of the women are just starting out, like a lot of women actually are starting in their journey to dress more like their brand, to really feel empowered with their clothes. My question to you is like, how do they express themselves into this Be You brand without feeling like they're not themselves? I don't know, like if I'm saying it the right way.
No.
I think that people will wear something and they'll be like, oh, maybe this is not me. Like there is a lot of doubt around that.
I love that you bring this up because, and I'm sure everybody can relate. You've gone into a store, you try on this dress, it fits your body perfect, and you walk out of the fitting room and everybody's complimenting you on how beautiful it looks, how it fits like a glove. And you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, this is not me. I would never wear it. The way that you see yourself and want to show up is differently than what just looks good on your body or what others see for you, if that makes sense. So like I mentioned in the beginning, when you are shopping, before even shopping, be intentional and put your 3 phrases or 3 words. Again, mine is bold, feminine, powerful. So obviously those are very broad. You don't know. For somebody else, it could be sexy, yet comfortable and flirty. And that could mean sexy could mean different for everybody. So as you shop, ask yourself, how sexy do I want to be? Maybe for you, sexy is a color. Maybe it's a brand. Some people for sexy, it's not showing cleavage. Some people for sexy, it's showing your legs. I really encourage people to take notes on what they find works for them and fits their style statement and what doesn't as they shop, because then it becomes easier. And
Yes,
you'll notice, and maybe you felt this, when you try something on that looks and feels like you and feels so good, when you try something else on that doesn't, you just know. You're like,
yes,
nope.
I know. And I actually, it's funny how you say that, because I'll go on a shopping day and sometimes I will leave with nothing, because if it doesn't feel like me, I don't buy it. I don't buy
And
it.
that's hard too. Yeah, which you shouldn't go on a shopping day without being able to find something, because that is very stressful. So going in and not being so specific is also very important. Like if there's a cardigan with the drape in the color, in the fabric, and you go in, you're never going to find it. So you do have to be open-minded, but I always say go with the shopping list of at least 3 pieces. Stay on target with that. And you did mention pricing before about not investing too much in clothing, but I actually encourage, if you do have the budget, open yourself up to being able to buy something that does cost more, because I'm just going to say it feels really good. It feels really good when you buy that piece. That feels, yes.
And when
Not
I
everything
said that, I said it because I know that women are everywhere. Like, but I think that like sometimes the piece that feels good is not just about pricing.
Yeah.
It's also about the style that you buy.
Yeah. It's so interesting. Like you can wear a blazer that makes, like Venus said that when we were shopping, it was out of the budget that she usually spends on the blazer, but she tried this on and she felt like $1 million. She said that. She's like, I feel like $1 million. So it is worth it if you feel like $1 million.
Worth it.
Yeah.
It is absolutely worth it to buy a piece. And I think that like, I just don't want people to think that stuff needs to be expensive.
No,
but because sometimes you try something that is really expensive and it doesn't feel good.
Oh,
but
yeah, for sure.
It's about how it feels and how you actually are like embodying that next level.
Yeah. And always be open to trying things that are new, because if you haven't shopped in a few years, I'm just going to be honest, when you go into a store or go online, it will feel a little overwhelming because everything is going to look very new than what you're used to. So I encourage you.
You haven't shopped in a few years. I was like,
yeah,
where do those people live?
Yeah. Though there's some people, they shop, and if they shop, they buy the same things that they kept buying. So they never experience something new.
I was that person.
Yeah. You get stuck. You know what worked, and then you just do it because and that's why I work with busy, successful women. You become busy and it's like, oh, I need a new shirt. This one broke. Or, oh, I wear this all the time. Let me buy it in a different color. And then you go to your closet and you're like, I'm bored. Because it all just looks
that was me. And now that I did that closet edit, I did that closet edit. Oh my God, I am so ready to like get pieces that are super fun.
What I'm going to tell you as a little piece of advice, see what styles you have a lot of. Let's say you have a lot of short sleeve shirts. Try something that's sleeveless. Try a little jacket that's lightweight that you can put over it. Look at what you have enough of and what you can actually add. Make a list of like the top 3 pieces that you're like, oh, I don't have enough of this. Or maybe I want to try this instead. And
oh my God, you said something earlier. We're going to close with this because
we could talk forever.
Well, because we can always do a second part. We can have people let us know. I think there is probably so many questions about this. And again, right, like we didn't even scratch the surface. We talked about confidence. We talked about the women creating like the 3 words that they want to feel, like the closet edit, right? Like getting rid of pieces that they are you 5 years ago. But I think like we can even like go into truly how to show up for your photo shoot. This is something that people ask me all the time and I have knowledge around. Obviously, I've been shooting for many years. But I think that every woman is different, right? And those 3 adjectives need to come through on those photo shoots.
Yes.
Right?
Oh yeah, we could do a whole episode. I work with people on photo shoots all the time. That's like
Oh
a
my God.
other
Yeah,
episode.
we need to do like the closet edit episode. Absolutely.
Hmm.
So, okay, Tannya, tell everybody where they can find you. And that you have a few different offers. Tell them how they can work with you, all that stuff.
Of course. I love hanging out on Instagram. So you could find my personal Instagram at Tannya B Style. That's Tannnya B Style. We also have the company, which is thecloset.edit. And with clients, I work one-on-one, both virtually and in person at myclosetedit.com. You could find the services. If you're really looking to dabble in, learn more how to do this on your own, going to our monthly style coaching and shopping program is the best way to start. You get so much information. You get on-demand style videos. We do live monthly calls. You get shopping boards. It's only $35 a month right now. The prices are going up in January, but you get so much content for what you get with the monthly coaching. It is in a group setting though, so not one-on-one, but it is still very informational. So I encourage
you can learn, you can grow into the next level.
yeah.
Right? Like,
Mhm.
I think it's a way for women to start feeling confident and be like, okay, I always wanted to dress different or better or whatever, and be like, okay, how do I step into that person?
Yes. And the reason why I do the monthly coaching is I know not everybody can afford the one-on-one, but the monthly coaching, I just give so much because I love connecting with the community and just seeing women get excited and light up as they try something that feels really good to them. We call it the TCE Insider Program, the membership. So if you go to myclosetedit.com, you'll see TCE Insiders, and that's where they go to sign up.
That is so fun. I love it. Well, this was amazing. So much information, so much inspiration too, because I think that so many women are doubting, like, if they can step into that person that, like, it's a little bit bolder or a little bit like more stylish. And you gave them great pointers. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Bye, love.
Bye.